Hello lovelies, welcome back to another video. In today's video, you're going to be seeing the literal first moments that Juno met her sister Rhea. I was going to literally open this video with me holding Rhea and introducing her to you guys, but we just had lunch on the sofa as a family and Phil and Rhea are having a cuddle and I'm pretty sure they're both probably fast asleep. So I thought I would let them crack on and I can crack on with this. And let's be honest, it's probably going to take a lot less time and be a lot more efficient use of my time without Rhea here. So I'm just going to let them get on with it and she might pop in at some point to say hello. I'll play some footage now, the first time they met, and just kind of talk you guys through like how we prepared her, bits that we did, what happened, the things that have kind of been thrown our way that we've had to deal with in the first week of Rhea's life. Yeah, we'll just go through those things. So I hope you enjoy it and we'll get into the video now. So one thing that we were really conscious of doing with Rhea was trying our absolute best to choose her name before she was born. We did this because we wanted to use the name with Juno so that once the baby arrived, she had kind of heard the name previously and could make a connection between them. And now all she says is sister and Rhea. She calls her Rhea, which is just the cutest thing ever. I don't ever want her to not call her Rhea. I've considered changing her name to Rhea, which I won't. But yeah, that was one thing that I found really helped us because you probably just saw at the beginning of the video, I was like, it's your sister Rhea. And she was like, yes. And she kind of knew and like understood. And I was really surprised by that. I was like, is this going to work when we were doing it? But I totally think it did. So I was really happy with that. And I'm so glad that we did it. It was really like definitely really beneficial for her, just for her little brain to kind of process it. But yeah, another thing that we did is we got Juno a present from baby Rhea, baby sister. I would recommend that you did that if you have a toddler and you're going to have a baby. I think it's a really good idea to have it, but keep it as a backup because I feel like we kind of pushed it on Juno and she didn't necessarily need it. She was quite interested and quite happy anyway, just looking at her sister, stroking her sister, laying down with her on the floor. When we got the presents out, we were like, look what your sister's got you. Look what baby Rhea's got you. Like, she was super interested. She loves baby. She loves her new toy baby and all the clothes and the accessories that came with it. It was an absolute hit. But I'm not 100% sure that she needed it. And I think we could have saved that for moments where, you know, she was poorly and she needed something to kind of distract her. That would have been perfect. So I think my advice with that one would be, get something for your toddler that they will love and will be super interested in, but don't tell them about it until you know you need to tell them about it. Do you know what I mean? Like in that moment, those kind of first few hours with Juno and Rhea, Juno was so interested in Rhea that she didn't need to be distracted. But I am really glad that we had it because there were moments where, you know, I was feeding Rhea and maybe Juno was a little bit like, I want mummy, I want a cuddle. And I was like, why don't you get your baby and you can give her some milk, or why don't you change baby's dress, or why don't you put baby in her pram and push baby around? And that really helped. I think she kind of sees it at the moment that that's like her baby and Rhea is mummy's baby. But I'm trying to be like, Rhea is our baby. But no, yeah, that would be my advice with the present. I think get something that they're going to love, but just be a bit more pick and choose when you give it to them, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Don't push it on them straight at the beginning if they don't need it. Save it for when they do. Another thing that we made sure that we had before Rhea arrived was just like stock of Juno's favourite things. So at the moment, she is completely and utterly fully obsessed with her toddler tower. She spends almost all of her time in her toddler tower doing arts and crafts. And her favourite thing at the moment is stickers, sticker books, and drawing and Play-Doh. Those 4 things. So I just made sure before baby girl arrived that we had fresh stock. I bought her a little folder that has like a little zip and she can go in it and choose all of her stickers. Just make sure that you're stocked up. Again, with like snacks, bits like that. Just stuff that you can give them and you know that they'll eat it. You'll know that they'll play with it. All of that stuff. That was, I was really grateful for having all of those things just to kind of keep her satisfied. If I had to sit behind her and feed Rhea in the kitchen on the chair, she was in her tower doing stickers, sticking stickers on Rhea. This is another thing about parent life. I'm already getting my kids' names mixed up. Like, I quite often call them each other's names or each other's nicknames, and that's not good. So overall, the transition for Juno has gone really smoothly. We've had a few bumps in the road, like I said. So Juno literally, when I think Rhea had been home for 2 days, she came down with hand, foot and mouth, and she was completely covered in blisters for about 4 days. And it was really tough because we didn't really want them to not be together, like they spent time together, but touching, and, you know, it was just really difficult. We had to kind of monitor how much Juno was kind of holding her and touching her, and we were having to wash everything. So hand, foot and mouth is really contagious. And I was just thinking in my head, like, I can hardly cope with Juno having hand, foot and mouth and having a newborn. Like, if they both have it, I'm gonna have a meltdown. That was a little bump in the road that we had. And also just kind of like recovery in general. I think I was lured into a false sense of security by people, midwives, like, everyone told me that, you know, it's your second birth, that it'll be easier, your body's done this before, it will be more straightforward, like you'll heal better, you'll heal quicker. And that hasn't been the case. The birth was pretty similar, just about an hour quicker, which made it feel really intense. I feel like if you asked me which was harder, my first birth or my second birth, I would say my second, but that might just be because it's the most recent and I've forgotten about the first. All birth is tough, right? But there was a lot of complications after birth, and I will do a video about it at some point, but I don't feel completely ready to kind of dive in and talk about it yet. But yeah, there was a lot of complications. I had to stay in hospital for over 24 hours. I was in for the night, and I know that's nothing. Some people are in hospital for days, weeks after birth. But it was, what I'm trying to say is that it was a totally different experience to my first birth. Recovery, not birth though. The birth was beautiful and I loved bringing Rhea into the world. I could speak about this for hours, but I feel like what I've done, and it might not be healthy, but in my mind it's healthy because it's separated the two things. So I've got Rhea's birth as one thing, which was a beautiful, positive, wonderful experience. And I loved bringing her into the world. And I have never done anything that hard in my life, but it was so worth it. It was the most worth it thing ever. And then you've got the afterbirth experience. So the complications that I had in hospital, how unwell I felt, all the drugs I was on. I had a really horrible reaction to some drugs. I couldn't hold Rhea for almost a whole kind of 10 hours because I was so unwell. And that has kind of at points clouded the birth. But what I'm doing is I'm seeing them as two different experiences. The birth was beautiful and the aftermath was really tricky and really tough. And they're two different things, and they can be two different things in my mind. And I don't know if that's healthy or not, but that's what I'm doing. And I will deal with the hard stuff. I am dealing with it. I'm talking about it with Phil. I've started to talk about it with a couple of my girlfriends. I've spoken loads to my mum about it because my mum was there and kind of dealing with it with me. And And I'm sure at some point it will just be something that happened. But at the moment, it feels like something that happened that was really scary and really sad. But yeah, I'm sorry I've rambled on for such a long time. This video was purely meant to be Juno meeting her sister Rhea for the first time, but I have just rambled on for ages. So I hope you don't mind that. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions or if there's anything you want me to answer, hop on over to my Instagram. And I'll do a video at some point, like maybe a Q&A or something like that, about both the births, about the recovery, everything. So yeah, hop over to my Instagram. I'll put it down here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next week for my weekly upload. Lots of love. Bye.